Hey, this is 7.2 test review. So the first three problems tell you to solve by using square root method. So remember, with square root method, your first step is to get whatever's squared alone. So this is what squared is. It is already alone on the left side of the equal sign. So we are going to take the square root of both sides. Square root cancels the squared. Okay, and you get x plus 9 equals, remember when you take the square root of a number, it's positive and negative. Square root of 36 is a perfect number, and it is 6. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 9 plus or minus 6, which I have to separate because it's not going to be the same thing. So x equals negative 9 plus 6, x equals negative 9 minus 6. So negative 9 plus 6 is negative 3. Negative 9 minus 6 is going to be negative 15. Okay, number 2 is different because you have that 4 in front and you have to get what's squared alone. So we're going to divide both sides by 4. That cancels, and we get 2x minus 3 squared equals negative 32 divided by 4, which is negative 8. Okay, so now we take the square root of both sides because what's squared is alone. This cancels that, and I get 2x minus 3 equals positive and negative. Well, it's going to be an I, and let's break down 8. 8 is 2 and 4, which is 2 and 2. So we have a pair of 2 and a leftover 2. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get 2x equals 3 plus or minus 2i square root of 2. Divide by 2, and I'm going to go ahead and separate because this simplifies, and I get 3 over 2 minus, well, these 2's cancel, I square root of 2, and 3 over 2 plus I square root of 2. Okay, so again, getting whatever's squared alone. Whatever squared is already alone, so we're just going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. Square root cancels the squared. I get 5x plus 1. Well, let's break down 20. 2 and 10, 2 and 5. So 2 is my pair, 5 is my leftover, and positive and negative. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And I'm going to divide by 5, which nothing over here is going to simplify, so I'm just going to put the whole thing over 5. So when I separate, I get negative 1 minus 2 square root of 5 over 5, negative 1 plus 2 square root of 5 over 5. Okay, so that's the square root property. The next section says solve by factoring. Y'all, this is the snowflake. Okay, so first thing we check for is a GCF and that it's in order. There is no GCF. It already is in order. So A is 1, B is 2, C is negative 15. Remember, A times C on top, B on bottom. So 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. B is 2. AX, AX. So what multiplies to give me negative 15 but adds to give me 2? It's going to be, so 15 divided by 3, so 3 and 5. So it's going to be negative 3, positive 5. 1 over 3 doesn't simplify, 1 over 5 doesn't simplify. So we get x minus 3 and x plus 5. And then remember, we separate and solve. So add 3, x equals 3. Subtract 5, x equals negative 5. I'm going to change colors. Okay, so here again, 6, 8, and negative 8. We do have a GCF. They are in order, but I know 2 can go into all of these. So when I take that 2 out, I end up with 3x squared plus 4x minus 4. So A is 3, B is 4, C is negative 4. So A times C is negative 12, B is 4. AX, AX. And we need something that multiplies to give us 12, but adds to give us 4, or subtracts, because one's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. So it's going to be 6 and 2. So we are going to have a positive 6 and a negative 2. 3 over 2 doesn't simplify, so we get 3x minus 2. But 3 over 6 does. 3 can go into both of those. So we end up getting x over positive 2. And we're going to set those equal to 0 and solve. So 3x minus 2 equals 0. X plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2 from both sides. X equals negative 2. Add 2 to both sides. 3x equals 2. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So I get negative 2 and 2/3. Okay, so if you look at number 6, there is no GCF. So A is 5, B is negative 17, and C is 6. A times C, I don't know why I had to think about that. B is negative 17. AX, AX. So what multiplies to give us 30 but adds to give us negative 17? Well, the top number is positive and the bottom number is negative. I know I'm going to have a double negative. So 30 divided by 15, so it's going to be 15 and 2. 5x over 2 doesn't simplify, so I know that's one of my factors. But this does. You can put 5 in both of those. Then you end up getting x over negative 3. And so we set those equal to 0 and solve. Add 2, 5x equals 2, divide by 5, divide by 5. Add 3, x equals 3. So it's going to be 3 and 2/5. I think I did it backwards, but it's fine. Yeah, because 2/5 is smaller. Okay, our next section says to use the quadratic formula. Y'all, you better hold on to your notes because you can use your notes on this, so you don't have to memorize the quadratic formula. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. I left mine open so I can just plug it in. A is 3. B is negative 4, C is negative 7, so negative 4, 3, 3, negative 7. So remember, you kind of simplify this in 3 parts in one step. So you're going to simplify this, this, and the inside of the house. So negative 4 becomes positive 4, plus or minus the square root of something over 2 times 3 is 6. And just type the inside of the house. So negative 4 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 7 equals 100. Now the cool thing is 100 is a perfect square of 10. So I know that this equals 4 plus or minus 10 over 6. And so we're going to separate and simplify. I'm going to do it over here. 4 plus 10 over 6 is 14 over 6, which simplifies to 7 over 3. 4 minus 10 over 6 is negative 6 over 6, which simplifies to negative 1. So my answers are negative 1 and 7/3. Okay, so again, A is 5, B is negative 8, C is 4, negative B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So again, we simplify the three parts, this piece, and this piece. 2 negatives makes a positive. 2 times 5 is 10, and inside the house. So negative 8 squared minus 4 times 5 times 4, and I get negative 16. Which 16 is a perfect square, but it's negative, so it's going to be I. So I get 8 plus or minus, square root of 16 is 4, but that negative becomes I over 10. And this can simplify, so I'm going to separate and simplify. So I get 8 over 10 plus or minus 4I over 10. 8 over 10 becomes 4/5. Plus or minus, this becomes 2/5. And I'm going to separate. Okay, so number 9, A equals 2, B equals negative 4, C equals 3. Negative B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So simplify your three pieces. Becomes positive 4 plus or minus square root of something over 4. Negative 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3 is negative 8. Okay, 8 is not a perfect square. 2 and 4, 2 and 2, so it's going to be 2 square root of 2, and it's going to have an I. So 4 plus or minus 2I square root of 2. I'm going to separate because this can simplify. This becomes 1 plus or minus I square root of 2 over 2, or 1I square root of 2 over 2. 1 minus I square root of 2 over 2. 1 plus I square root of 2 over 2. Okay, the next bunch of them are solved using your own method. Y'all pick whatever's easiest. So I can see right here I have something squared and I have a number. So I'm going to do the square root method. I'm going to divide both sides by 10. Negative 200 divided by 10 is negative 20. So I get x squared equals negative 20. And now I can take the square root of both sides. Square root cancels the squared. I get x equals 2I because it was negative, square root of 5 because that's my leftover, and sorry, positive and negative. There's my answer. Now, on your other ones, y'all, you could technically try to factor them, but then you have to run into the risk factor of it being not factorable. So I'm just going to do the quadratic formula, but like I said, you can choose whatever method you want. So this becomes negative 1 plus or minus 2 times 2 is 4, square root of something. 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 3. So 25. So this one could have been factored. So I get negative 1 plus square root of 25, y'all, is just 5 over 4, and negative 1 minus 5 over 4. It's going to be 4 over 4, which just equals 1. It's going be negative 6 over 4, which is negative 3 over 2. So I get negative 3 over 2, comma 1. I can do this one by factoring. A is 1, B is 9, C is 10. Actually, you cannot do this one by factoring, so don't. Negative B plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C, all over 2A. B is 9, B is 9, A is 1, C is 10. So I get negative 9 over 2 plus or minus the square root of something. So it gave me the square root of 41, which is not a perfect square. That also proves that you could not have factored it. So we're going to simplify 41. I really don't think you can. It's hard to think. No, you can't. So you're just going to separate negative 9 minus square root of 41 over 2. Negative 9 plus square root of 41 over 2. I'm going to leave number 13 and 15 for you all to do, but I am going to do number 14. How do you get rid of a fraction? Well, this is the same thing as dividing by 3, multiplying by a third. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3. That cancels that. You get 3x minus 7 squared equals 15 times 3, 45. Okay, now I'm going to do square root method because I have something squared that's alone. 3x minus 7 equals positive and negative. So it's going to be 3 square root of 5. Add 7 to both sides. 3x equals 7 plus or minus 3 square root of 5. Divide by 3. I'm going to separate because those can simplify. Hold on. 7 over 3 minus square root of 5. 7 over 3 plus square root of 5. Okay, so you can do number 13 and 15. So the bottom 6 are solving for your quadratic equation. Okay, so this is working backwards. You're not necessarily solving, you're undoing. Okay, so if you notice, if they're the same, we already put them together for you, but these two are not. So remember, you're just going to get them set equal to 0 by adding 3 to both sides. And then that gives you your two factors. So then you double distribute, so x times x is x squared, x times negative 4 is negative 4x, 3 times x is 3x, 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Combine your like terms, you get x squared minus x minus 12 equals 0. Okay, and then on these, so I'm not, oh, I'll do it. Okay, so look at number 22. I'm not going in order because these two are alike, so I'm going to do them together. I need to multiply both sides by 3. So I get 3x equals 2. Subtract 2, 3x minus 2 equals 0. So that's how you get fractions. So times 4 times 4. So I get 4x equals negative 1. Add 1, 4x plus 1 equals 0. So here are my two factors. 3x minus 2, 4x plus 1. 3x times 4x is 12x squared. 3x times 1 is positive 3x. Negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Combine your like terms. 12x squared minus 5x minus 2 equals 0. Okay, now the other ones are different. I'm only going to do number 23. Okay, because it is kind of has a little bit of everything. It has the I, and it also has a number, and it has a negative. So I want you to realize that anytime it's the same, you put it together like we already did, and you're going to square both sides. Oh no, sorry. You're going to get your plus and minus alone first, then square both sides. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I get x plus 3. I'll do one more after this. And I get positive and negative square root of 5, because I thought this had an I, but it doesn't. Okay, and now I'm going to square both sides. So this ends up being x plus 3 times x plus 3 equals, well, square root cancels a squared. A positive squared is a positive, a negative squared is a positive. So both ways, no matter what, it's going to equal 5. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 3 is 9. Combine like terms and get it equal to 0. Almost added that wrong. Okay, and then I'll do number 21. So on this one again, you want to get the plus or minus alone. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. X minus 2 equals positive and negative I square root of 2. And now I'm going to square both sides. This will become x minus 2 times x minus 2, and I'll double distribute. And I squared, so just as a reminder, I'm going to put down here, I equals the square root of negative 1. So if I square both sides, I squared equals, so square root cancels the squared, negative 1. So anytime you square I, it just equals negative 1. So this is going to be negative 1, and then square root of 2 squared, well, that cancels that, is just 2. So you're going to multiply those. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2 is negative 2x. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, equals negative 2. Add 2 to both sides and combine like terms. So x squared minus 4x plus 6 equals 0.